You're watching News Central Television. This is News Now with me, Joe Hanson. Let's take a look at the top stories for this hour. ICPC says it recovered over 13 billion naira diverted funds in September 2024. INEC, River State Independent Electoral Commission bicker over voter register as election day draws near. Authorities in Mali postponed start of school year following severe flooding. Stay with us to get the details coming up here shortly. The federal government has announced the provision of new tax reliefs for deep offshore oil and gas production to boost investments in the sector. It also announced that the importation of key energy products and infrastructure, including diesel, feed gas, liquefied petroleum gas, compressed natural gas, electric vehicles, liquefied natural gas, infrastructure, and clean cooking equipment, would no longer require value-added tax payment. The Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, announced this in a statement on Wednesday. A statement signed by the Director of Information and Public Relations, Mohammed Manga, said the initiative would position Nigeria's deep offshore basin as a premier destination for global oil and gas investments, bolster energy security, and accelerate Nigeria's transition to cleaner energy sources. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has announced that over 13 billion naira in diverted public funds was recovered in September 2024 alone. The chairman of the ICPC, Musa Aliyu, disclosed this during the launch of the Commission's 2024 to 2028 Strategic Action Plan in Abuja on Wednesday. Aliyu, who emphasized that the Anti-Corruption Agency has been working relentlessly to fulfill its mandate, did not disclose where exactly these funds were recovered from. The ICPC boss also disclosed that the Commission is digitalizing its operations, which he said will position it as a leader in leveraging technology to combat corruption. A bill seeking to license the operation and practice of private investigators in Nigeria has been stepped down on the floor of the Senate. The sponsor of the bill, Osita Ngwu, was advised to step down the bill after some senators described the proposed bill as a recipe for disaster. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
It's the first plenary of the week on the floor of the Senate, and the bill seeking to legalize the practice of private investigation in the country was discussed by lawmakers. The sponsor of the bill took time to highlight some provisions in the bill which he says seeks to provide a framework for the licensing and practice of private investigators in the country.
Serious socio-economic and even political consequences. A legislative framework will provide a much-needed clarity and consistency in regulation of the information gathering practices of private investigators. This will help to enhance capacity to access information relevant to investigation and also help protect privacy of citizens.
This divided the Senate as some lawmakers spoke in favor of the bill while others kicked against the bill, saying it will cause more harm than good.
For all intents and purposes, it's desirable. We should be able to support it and pass it. The licensing of these people should be able to regulate the conduct of people so licensed. It's not for witch hunting or somebody going to investigate anybody at his whims and caprices.
The effort of this private investigation is very complementary in many dimensions, and this will assist our businessmen in the area mentioned by the mover in terms of fraud prevention, insurance fraud, aviation, and many more, even in bank charges.
I think that it would be risky to license anyone to have the right to approach any one of us and ask certain questions because the law has empowered him so to do. It will just be a license for extortion, a license for blackmail, an unnecessary rivalry, and it will not be controllable.
I'm against the bill because if you are asking people to go and be licensed, I presently practice private investigation in this country. I investigated a lot of people in this country as a forensic accountant. I cannot go for another regulatory agency for me to be licensed to practice.
After a heated deliberation, the President of the Senate advised the sponsor of the bill to step down the bill and further consult with other lawmakers who have raised concerns about the bill.
A country where we have numerous wives, and then any of the wives can approach a private investigator, and they will bring very false evidence against you, and at the end of the day, you end up being scandalized. Social media will take that report as if the report is true. But however, I want to urge a view of the divergence of views and the concerns raised by your colleagues. Do you want to reject this and then represent it so that we just step it down?
The issue you raised now was one of my major concerns. Somebody said that several men will not be very comfortable with it because it will impinge on their freedom of going to the other way.
Meanwhile, a bill seeking to establish a Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Irabiji, Osun State, passed second reading on the floor of the Senate.
Most of this focus on science and technology, hence the need to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Irabiji, Osun State, to increase the number of agricultural universities. This will help the back-to-land policy of the federal government to ensure the diversification of our national economy.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Irabiji, Osun State, and make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024 SB 569, second reading taken.
The bill, if passed into law and assented to by Mr. President, makes provision for 3 Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies in the country. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
The Nigerian Defense Headquarters has cleared the air over controversies surrounding the arrest, detention and trial of Seaman Abbas Haruna by the Navy. The Director of Defense Information, Major General Tukur Gusau, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, says that the discharged naval rating was arrested following his refusal to obey orders and surrender of his weapon, a situation deemed as unprofessional and a display of gross misconduct by the rating. He said that claims that the seaman was incarcerated for 6 years without trial are false, saying he underwent a valid court-martial before his shameful discharge from the Navy.
A perusal of the report of the prosecution confirmed that the accused rating disobeyed the order of his commanding officer and resisted arrest by firing his rifle to the extent that he expended 16 rounds of ammunition, which could have resulted in the death of any of his colleagues around there. The action of the X-rating was in no doubt an act of gross indiscipline, capable of taking the lives of his colleagues. It is therefore evident that the X-rating cannot be trusted with a rifle or any weapon belonging to the armed forces of Nigeria. This is because soldiers, ratings, and aircraftmen are trained for the purpose of weapon handling to apply SEM judiciously and diligently when called upon for the protection of the sovereignty of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Some residents of the Federal Capital Territory have accused the federal government and the Nigerian police force of suppressing the rights of citizens to express themselves in the recent #Fearless October protest. Some of them spoke to News Central Television in Abuja, saying it is a breach of their constitutional right to peaceful assembly. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu has more in this report.
Security operatives patrolling within the major streets in Nigeria's capital, hunting for protesters. While they clearly allowed pro-government protesters, giving them protection, the same gesture was not given to anti-government protesters who were dispersed using tear gas canisters. This has been condemned by international human rights watchdog Amnesty International.
You can see police brutality. Using tear gas on some persons yesterday. I watched it on live TV. So not that I was told. That is the reason.
We are not yet recovered from the brutality of Nigerian police and the Nigerian state. And so far we are all human beings. Emotion will set in. Somebody like me, yesterday I was in the prison with those who are being arrested and held hostage, even despite the fact that they are being granted bail. But the condition and terms of that bail, no poor individual and working class in Nigeria can meet up with it. So we are still battling with it, and emotionally we are down that the state can suppress the citizen like this.
The essence of the protest is a result, and maybe even when people come out to protest, there is no result, So people rather, decided to go out their normal business rather than coming out and waste their time, and at the end of the day, there's not any results.
Many of them, because of a level of enlightenment, they may feel that coming out, since it's a continuous processes and not yielding any result, they will be dwindling back.
Some of these respondents predict anarchy, saying that aggrieved citizens may run out of patience soon, a situation that might not be good for the country.
You can't suppress people for long. It's in the history. You can't keep oppressing people and say that they should not talk or they should not react. One day, they will not get scared of death, and they will have to face it.
It's suppression. That is, we are being suppressed. Nigerians are being suppressed. You can't say anything. It's like we don't have a right. It's like we don't have a right. We don't have a saying. The common man doesn't have a saying. That's just it.
Amnesty International, in a press statement issued on Wednesday, urged Nigerian authorities to end the repression of peaceful protests and listen to critics. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Well, joining me to discuss this is an economist and public affairs analyst, Aliyu Elias. Thank you for being here this morning. How do you view the implications of the Nigerian government's response to the protests on the broader landscape of civil liberties here in Nigeria?
All right. I think it's a basic right for virtually every Nigerian to have the right to protest, right to associate, a right to gather. However, when it comes to Nigerian factor, you see that it's becoming a criminalized offense for you to actually go out to actually maybe protest or air out your rights. But it's quite saddening and appalling that you see that government protesters are allowed to actually carry out their own protests, but for anti-government, they are not allowed at all. In fact, I was challenged yesterday when I went out. I saw a lot of everywhere being policed. That shows that you see the sign that Abuja is well policed, so as to deny people to protest. But like one of the people you interview actually said, it's just for a temporary thing that you can deny people. People will still find their way to actually air their view.
All right. I mean, given the current political climate, what do you foresee as the future of activism and civic engagement in Nigeria, particularly among the youth?
Right. If you notice, even government is reacting to it, because if you see in the wide broadcast of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he actually said there will be 30 days conference for the youth. That's a sign that he's reacting to what is happening, and he thinks that there's a need to really get a way forward for the youth. I think gradually it's making meaningful. They are getting what they actually plan to achieve. But, suppression is just the major problem. Then the way we are criminalizing protest is becoming one problem too many that we need to really review, because protest in the past has been normal tools to really make government to adjust their policy.
I mean, you just talked about what the president said, talking about the 30 days confab. What's your thought on that? Do you think that's quite relevant at this time? And 30 days, a lot of persons have talked about it being too much, too long for 30 days.
Well, I don't think it's too much. It depends on how it is being operationalized. If it will start from the state, from the local government to the state and to the federal, it could take 30 days. We could say for local government, they should have it within a week. for states, it should be 2 weeks. Then they come to Abuja to finalize it, as it were. But it depends on the modalities. I don't think it's too much to prepare for the future of youth. I don't think 30 days is too much because there's a lot to discuss. If you look at what he actually said, it should be based on employment, opportunity, innovation, and a whole lot of even security and a whole lot of things to discuss. So I don't think it's too much. You will recall that even as much as we said the 2014 confirm is not being maximized, there are some facts that still came out there that we can still, perhaps this is youth. And, for the next 30 years, this youth will still be in the leadership position. So it's good we channel a way forward, chat a way forward for the youth. I don't think it's too much. Depends on how it's been planned.
All right. Anyway, let's look at the economic perspective now. What are the implications of the government's response to the protesters, as we saw on TV screen, and what has been taking place, especially on investor confidence and foreign direct investment in Nigeria? I mean, the world is watching as well.
Right. As a business person, either global or local, you have to consider your environment first when you want to do business. Is it well secure? What's the level of volatility? What's the level of policy someone sort? These are the things every business will put in place before they come to invest, because it is not a temporary business. It's business that you may be expecting your profit next 5 years or 10 years. So you'll be looking at the volatility of that. And the way government is reacting to the protests, is making it to have a serious tension. Like I said, if you go to Abuja Metropolis, you see a lot of everywhere being police, which is not good for business climate.
I want to say thank you for your time, Mr. Ali Elias, Public Affairs Analyst, for joining us to discuss this current situation regarding the protest, and not forgetting to the police.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. River State voters register saga continues, and when we go on a break and return, we'll take a look at this story, especially with the elections slated for this Saturday. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. And now to political matters. A member of the House of Representatives, member Chris Nkwota, representing Uka East West in Abia State, Southeast Nigeria, has defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. The Speaker of House, Nigeria's House of Representatives, announced the defection during plenary on Wednesday. The Deputy Minority Leader opposed the defection, warning the member of provisions contained in the Constitution, mandating that his seat be declared vacant.
The defection of Honorable Chris Nkwota, member representing Ukwa East and West Federal Constituency, Abia State, from People's Democratic Party to All Progressive Congress. May we stand and appreciate this gentleman.
I want to underline this word. Shall vacate his seat in the House of which he is a member if he becomes a member of another legislative house. A. B. Any other circumstance arise that if there is no member of that Senate or House of Representatives would cause him to be disqualified for election as a member.
The Independent National Electoral Commission says it is yet to release the 2023 voter registration to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. Speaking at a press briefing in Port Harcourt, the resident Electoral Commissioner Johnson Alalibo said RISEC had applied for the register, but it was yet to be released to them because of administrative reasons. Alalibo further confirmed that the Commission is in receipt of the court judgment from Abuja barring the Commission from releasing the register.
However, to make it very clear, the RISEC has written to us about 2 times for release of register, but we have not released before we received from our headquarters an order from Federal High Court restraining INEC from releasing the register. So up to now, we have not officially handed over the River State voters register to the RISEC. We have not. The ICT department housed the voter register, and the voter register is in soft copy. And in 2 ways, either we give it to them in that soft copy, or we photocopy them, both black and white and color. Then we stamp, certified true copy. But we have not given them. There is no register in our office that will show that we have handed over such a document to them. They have not, but they have written. I have that of the Federal High Court from Abuja, which was sent to me by my headquarters, directing me to comply with the court order.
Meanwhile, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, has refuted claims by the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Rivers State, denied the release of the voter registration manifest to RISEC. According to RISEC, they received the document from INEC as far back as November 2023. This was disclosed by RISEC Commissioner for Public Affairs and Civic Education, Tobin Tamanotoye, while addressing the issues surrounding the court ruling against the release of the voter registration details. Tamanotoye also referenced the court judgment instructing RISEC to use the 2023 voter registration data. He affirmed that nothing is hindering the elections as the commission is strictly adhering to the law.
We don't have a copy of the judgment as far as the 6th Commission is concerned. We do not have that judgment, copy of that judgment with us. The copy of order of the court that we have is the one that the Commission received on the 6th of September 2024 to the effect that we are, by that order, mandated to conduct the local government poll. The Independent Electoral Commission also mandated to release the voter register for us and the likes. Let me place it on record before the hearing of the entire world that as we speak, we are already in possession of the 2023 updated voters register for the conduct of the October 5th local government poll in Rivers State.
And that was Tobin Tamanotoye right there speaking. But still staying with the elections, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, an association of registered political parties in the country, has thrown its weight behind the October 5 deadline for local government election in Rivers State. IPAC chairman in Rivers State, Soswe Mausaro, at a media briefing in Port Harcourt, said the decision followed careful observation that there is no legitimate court order restraining the State Independent Electoral Commission from conducting the poll. He said the order from a federal high court in Abuja cannot stand on the grounds that it came after a court of coordinate jurisdiction in Port Harcourt ordered the elections to be held, and that the voters register which it restrained INEC from releasing had already been obtained by the State Electoral Commission before the order.
The October 5th election, sanctioned by the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, remains sacrosanct. We are very much aware that there are conflicting court judgments that have thrown members of the public, members of IPAC, members of our various political parties into some level of discomfort. And that is why we are addressing the press today to inform everyone, particularly our members, our candidates, those who have passed through processes, those who have committed their energies, resources, time to participate in this election, to prove that we are ready to provide leadership at the grassroots level in our various local governments to stand firm that the election will hold. We are standing on the authority of the judgment delivered by Honorable Justice Igwe of the Rivers State High Court that has empowered, authorized, and allowed RISEC to conduct this election with the 2023 INEC voters register. That's a judgment of Court of Competent Jurisdiction. It is strike law to also state that that judgment that came prior to the subsequent one stands.
Meanwhile, River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has declared Thursday, October 3 and Friday, October 4, 2024 as public holidays to enable residents of the state to travel to their various communities to fully participate in the Saturday, October 5 local government elections. The governor also announced strict restriction of vehicular movement of residents from midnight on Friday, October 4 to 5 p.m. on election day. Governor Fubara made the declarations in a statewide broadcast to the people of the state at the Government House in Port Harcourt on Wednesday.
Therefore, I wish to advise and request all registered voters to go to their polling unit to exercise their franchise by voting for the candidate of their choice, as security personnel would be there to maintain order and ensure peaceful poll as a matter of constitutional duty. We are leaving no stone unturned to enable all registered voters to travel to their communities to participate, peacefully exercise their civil responsibility at their polling unit. To this end, I hereby declare Thursday and Friday, the 3rd and 4th of October 2024, a public holiday for citizens to travel to their communities and participate in the election. Furthermore, I hereby place a total restriction on vehicular and human movement into, within, and outside the state and the local government areas from midnight, the Friday, 4th October 2024, to 5 p.m. on Saturday, 5th of October 2024, except for persons and vehicles who are on election and other essential duties.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at more stories concerning local government elections where party stalwarts of the All Progressives Congress in Plateau State have flagged off campaign activities for the all-important councillorship and chairmanship elections in the state. The grassroots elections, which last held 3 years ago, is slated to hold on the 9th of October 2024. Convener of the APC campaign flag off, Yusuf Gagdi, member representing Pankshin Kanke Kanam Federal Constituency, expressed optimism that the party will be victorious at the polls. Our correspondent Chizoba Nyongwe tells us more.
It looked like a carnival, but it was not. It was the entrance of the state APC leaders into the stadium in Dengi, venue for the campaign flag-off for the local government elections in Plateau State. Sons and daughters of Dengi in Kanam local government area of the state had also gathered to reassure their leaders of their commitment and readiness to step out en masse come October 9, 2024 for the elections. They say they will ensure their votes count as they call on the Plateau State Independent Electoral Commission to play a fair game.
Our expectations are that there should be a fair and free election. Like the governor has always said, that he's going to organize a free, fair and just election. We want to take him by his words, and that is why we are all here in this number to make sure that on the 9th of October, each and every one of us casts his votes for the candidates that he likes.
I want plastic, with authority I call on plastic, to conduct this election free and fair. We are all citizens of Plateau State. Anybody that emerges, irrespective of your political party, you are first a Plateau citizen. Irrespective of your religion and tribe. So I want anybody that emerges should be given his due, his position, because it is service to humanity.
Much is required from them because the initiative is a global thing altogether. We pray that they can do more in order to help people that are downtrodden and people that are expected much from them. So we're praying that they should gear up to uplift poverty from our people. I think that's the essence of it all.
Leader of the APC on the plateau, Senator Simon Lalong, was represented at the event by the former gubernatorial candidate in the 2023 election, Nentawe Yowada, who also accepted and presented APC flags to new decampees of the party. Member representing Pangshin Kanke Kanam Federal Constituency, Yusuf Gagdi, spoke shortly after the event.
Election have process. You say you will bring electoral materials. Yes, we are well prepared to follow up the electoral materials. You say you will dispatch them to wards and polling units. We are waiting. You say results should be announced as polling unit and what level based on the Plastic Act. We are waiting. We say for the chairmanship it should be announced at the local government headquarters. So we are still waiting. So you've seen the people. I'm sure the people will take their destinies in their own hands. So as long as 9th of October is going to come, Kanam people will definitely take their destinies in their own hands.
All eyes remain on Plasiek to see how credible they will be, especially the chairman, Plangji Chishak, whom the election will be his first outing since assuming office. In Dengi, Kanam local government area of Plateau State, Chizoba Anyowe, reporting for News Central.
Indigents and residents of Isialangwa South and Obingwa local government councils in Abia State say they have suffered immensely in trying to access other parts of the state due to the deplorable condition of the Itungwa-Nkwaelechi road. However, the recent interest shown by the government to reconstruct and make the road accessible has created hope for them. News Central's Chinwe Ogele reports that Governor Alex Oti has flagged off reconstruction of the road.
The road traverses at least 5 communities in 2 local government areas of Isialangwa South and Obingwa in Abia State. The bad state of this community road is affecting transportation of farm produce from the farms to the markets and other communities.
A road that will open up the rural communities within this local government to Aba, the commercial nerve center of Abia State. So the road is going to be upgraded. Call it upgrade intervention, where the road will be asphalted, for easy passage.
In order to make movement through this axis easier for commuters and farmers, the state governor Alex Oti says the 19 kilometers road will be completed in 12 months.
This administration is excited to be partnering with the World Bank in this project, as it aligns perfectly with our vision of bringing sustainable development to the rural communities through structured investments in social infrastructure.
The cost of the reconstruction is put at over 3 billion naira, according to the contractor.
That's why you see we have a large deployment of all the equipment that will be needed to make sure that this project is delivered in record time.
Traditional ruler of Ituahia Autonomous Community, Eze Onibungu, requests that his unemployed subjects be engaged in the reconstruction work.
If there's any way the contractor can incorporate a certain percentage of our youths in the workforce, we will make sure that they will be productive.
It is a World Bank assisted scheme under the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, aimed at improving transportation and expanding access to urban markets for farmers and others who operate in the agricultural value chain.
This road project is going to benefit all of them economically, because I know that a good number of them are farmers, and it will bring access roads for them to convey their goods to all the township where they can now make the sales of their farm products.
The Akwa Ibom people is coming to these places to buy something, to buy food from us here. So if the road good, it will enable them to come.
One way to ensure food security in Nigeria is to assist farmers move their harvest to their desired markets for sale with ease through the provision of good roads. In Omaha for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
The news continues in West Africa, where parts of Mali's capital, Bamako, are underwater, with buildings lying damaged, forcing authorities to postpone the start of school year over the severe flooding. Director of the Dar es Salaam Franco-Arab School Group, Kuniba Traore, said water broke the wall and more than 15 classrooms were filled. According to the International Organization for Migration, the exceptional rainfall recorded in Mali is the heaviest since 1967.
Il y a eu tellement de dégâts que l'eau a cassé le mur. Le mur est cassé. Ensuite, les classes ont été remplies de plus de 15 salles. Et ce n'est pas tout. Les directions ont été inondées. Parce que l'eau est montée jusqu'à 1 mètre dans les directions. Donc, les papiers ont été mouillés.
In East Africa, Malawi's government has launched a food distribution drive for over 5 million hunger-stricken people impacted by a drought exacerbated by climate change and the El Nino weather phenomenon. The drought is the worst to hit southern Africa in a century, leaving landscapes barren and leading to food shortages for millions. According to the World Food Programme, the drought has damaged 44% of the country's crops. The country's Disaster Management Affairs Commissioner, Charles Kalimba, said the aid is a joint initiative between the government, the WFP, and other donors. He said the project aims to reach 5.7 million in the country of 20 million inhabitants.
The El Nino situation has required us to act swiftly and decisively. Although in-kind food distributions are not the usual approach for WFP in Malawi in recent years, we normally rely on cash transfers. The severity of the food shortages in Malawi has compelled us to resort to imported food.
Njala inakula chifukwa cha dzuwa ng'ambe imene linabwera pakati pathu. Talima koma osakolola. Dzuwa linakula kwambiri. Ndipo pa project imene yomwe aboma akonze kuti tiyandire thandizo, tithandiza kwambiri. Ndipo tioneka kuti mwina njala ichepa.
There are more than the 5.7 million people that are food insecure, and therefore we still need more resources to make sure that we increase the number that we are targeting, but also to make sure that we get to the end of the rain season.
We head to the south of the continent now, where after 6 months in circulation, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has devalued the country's gold-backed currency by 40% in a bid to stabilize the Zimbabwe's economy, bringing it to 24 ZiG to $1. The ZiG shot for Zimbabwe gold officially started trading in April, shortly after it was announced it would replace the Zimbabwean dollar, which has tumbled in value over the past year, pushing inflation through the roof. Zimbabwe President Emmerson Mnangagwa has hailed this switch as an important step towards stabilizing the domestic currency.
Currency stabilization is at the core of macroeconomic stability. The adoption of the Zimbabwe gold, the ZiG, in April 2024 this year, was an important step towards stabilizing the domestic currency anchored by our gold and precious metal reserves. We note with concern the resurgence of parallel market activities driven by speculative tendencies.
Israel carried out a deadly air raid on Thursday on a Hezbollah rescue facility in central Beirut, killing at least 6 people. This comes after multiple Israeli ground troops were killed near the border on Wednesday. The second strike, targeting the capital center this week, follows Iran launching its largest missile attack yet on its foe Israel, prompting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to warn Tehran would pay for its big mistake. Iran, which backs Hezbollah, said it would step up its response if Israel retaliates, defying calls for de-escalation in a war that has cost more than 1,000 lives in Lebanon. Sports. Rivers Hoppers beat Boko City Chiefs 51-46 in the opening game of the Chief of Defense Staff CDS Independence Basketball Championship at the Mo Arena in Abuja on Wednesday. It was not the best of games for the Kingsmen, who were playing their first competitive game after the Basketball Africa League ball in May. The titled men held a 4-point lead for most part of the game, leaving Hoopers to chase the game too. With a 4-point deficit, 36-40 into the fourth quarter, the Kingsmen were left with no choice but to control the game if they wanted a different outcome. Hoopers outscored the Chiefs 7-2 from the line to pick up their first win of the competition against the determined City Chiefs. Former African champions Ayimba and Bendel Insurance recorded home victories in the Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL rescheduled Week 3 matches played on Wednesday. After a goalless first half in Aba, Ayimba benefited from Austin Oyemachi's 74th minute strike to inflict the second defeat on Akwa United. The victory also moved the People's Elephants to third position on the table with 9 points from victories over Heartland, Lobby Stars and now Akwa United. Meanwhile, 3SC's unbeaten run ended in Benin City, where Bendel Insurance left it late to beat the Oluyole Warriors 1-0. 3SC were on the verge of recording another draw on the road, but Michael Enaruna scored in the 4th minute of second half at a time to hand the Benin Arsenals the maximum points. Ademola Lookman scored 1 goal and contributed to the other 2 as Atalanta cruised to a 3-0 win over Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League on Wednesday in Gelsenkirchen. Atlanta now have 4 points from 2 games, having held Arsenal to a 0-0 draw in their opener. Lookman set up the first goal in the 21st minute with Berat Jim City converting his cross. Just before halftime, Lookman scored a first-time shot after a pass from Saeed Kolesinak. In the 48th minute, Lookman assisted David Zapacosta's cross, which Raul Belanova headed in for the 3rd goal. The road to the African Nations Championship CHAN holding in East Africa will be mapped out next Wednesday. According to CAF, the 2024 qualifiers draw will be conducted in Cairo, Egypt. Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania will host the tournament between the 1st to the 28th of February 2025. Ahead of the finals, 2 rounds of qualifiers will take place on a home and away basis. The first round of qualifiers will be played on the weekend of 25th to 27th October and the 1st to the 3rd of November 2024, with the second round confirmed for 20th to 22nd December and 27th to 29th December 2024. Since its 2009 inception, the CHAN tournament has been an exceptional platform of showcasing the world-class talent and quality of African football, as well as its ever-evolving landscape. And that's all the news we have for you for this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. ICPC says it has recovered over 13 billion naira diverted funds in September 2024. INEC Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission bicker over voter register as election day nears. We also told you that authorities in Mali have postponed start of school year following severe flooding. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274. You could also watch on Limex, Avo TV, and you can stream live on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm Joe Hanson, thanking you for watching.